Hi, welcome to Feminism on Trial. There's a lot in the news right now. I think we can all agree on that. It is March 2nd of 2022, a war in Ukraine, a very questionable president. Now, however, a story popped up that I happened to see. This story is a tragic one. It happened in Sacramento, California, and these are the facts that we know of. A father was estranged from his wife, the mother of his 3 children. He was having court-ordered visitation. Love how you can visit your children, but that's another video for another time. I will try to stay focused and not get too angry. Supervised visitation. The estranged wife / mother of these 3 children had a restraining order out on him. The report that I read did not say what it was for. And you and I both know there's a high probability that it was for nothing at all. It was a false accusation, and it was occurring at a church. I can only imagine that it was like a meeting room that they were using as some sort of a neutral locale. Again, the report didn't say that. I think they were much more interested in saying, like, it happened at a church to go, to be more dramatic with their agenda and their narrative, which was several-fold. Tragically, this man, this father, he shot and killed his 3 children, ages 9, 10, 13, and the chaperone of the visitation, and then himself. It's clearly a tragedy. I'm not taking away from that. I am not excusing this. This is not okay. But this story is incomplete. While we will probably never know all of the pertinent facts to this story, we can infer quite a lot, and by we, I mean the MRA community and most of you men that have been through anything like this, not the shootings, but the divorce and, restraining orders, unwarranted as they may be, parental alienation, having visitation with your own damn children. You can infer quite a lot, I would think. Like I said, we don't know. And I was speaking to my fiance, and I said, well, maybe he's a monster, and he stopped me and he said, no. Monsters operate in secret. They don't do what they do in a public setting where everyone's going to know what happened. And I was like, he's right again. Obviously, monsters do this in secret. So what was this man's motivation? And is he truly the only guilty party in this tragedy? With what I know about society, parental alienation against men primarily, and the family court system, I would bet money that he is not the only perpetrator. He's not the only one guilty. He's not the only guilty party. He may not even be the most guilty party. Right? Some of you probably have, if you stumbled upon this, fire is like shooting out of your ears and you can't even believe I'm saying this. Well, listen up, okay? Put yourself in this person's position. Let's imagine, if you will. And it may not be this man, but it's a lot of men. And like I said, I would bet money it's this man too. And write me in the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you think was the full situation? There's a restraining order against him. He has to have supervised, chaperoned visitation with his 3 children. Here's what I think is going on, or was going on. I see a man who saw no future for himself. If he's already facing a false accusation, which he has absolutely no defense against. No man does. No man does. This whole Me Too generation, an accusation, well, heck, that's proof. It's not proof, but it is in our society. A woman says it. You gotta believe all women, right? No. So, a false accusation, which then distances himself further from the kids. If this is a woman who is willing to accuse him falsely, don't you think she is also alienating him from his kids? I mean, there had to be a court proceeding that made a judge, or allowed a judge, I should say, because they're chomping at the bit to do so, that allowed a judge to say, oh, you can have visitation, but it can only be for this long, and it has to be, chaperoned, et cetera, et cetera. It has to be in a neutral location. They can't come to your house, whatever. You can't come to where they live, et cetera. Right? He's thinking, where's this going? Most men are not stupid, and men look at things cost-benefit ratio. They go in with a fact-based approach, unlike feelings, right? They have the feelings. Don't get me wrong. They definitely have the feelings. But they can think above their feelings, which serves them well many times. I think what this man saw was no future for himself, and a future also where his children would be alienated from him. They would grow to be like their mother. They were girls, that they would grow to be like their mother. Perhaps they were already showing, signs of alienation, like they didn't like him or trust him or whatever, based on things the mother had said. We know it happens. It happens more often than not. And for himself, what does he now have to live for? Right? He was in a corner. Do you know what people do when they're in a corner? Do you know what animals do? Everything does when they're in a corner and they see no way out. This is why the male suicide rate is so high. Now, let's be clear again. Yes, he's guilty. Yes, he shouldn't have done it. Yes, it was wrong. But there's another guilty party here who is responsible for the deaths of those 5 people too. She helped kill them without pulling a trigger. Now, this is all in my imagination. So we are not libeling anybody or slandering anybody. This is all imagination and projection based on other situations that we know all too well. But let's just imagine that this was how it was. What pushes a man to the point where he sees this as his only option and the best option for his children? That he would think in his mind this insane thought that they're better off gone from this world than what he sees their future to be. I think the different killing in this situation is not so much to be seen as almost a mercy killing or a no way out, is the chaperone. That was probably anger at the system. Let's imagine, maybe she said, or he said, something to the effect of, you only have 5 minutes left, or you're not allowed to hug your child, or whatever, right? Or maybe just the fact that someone was chaperoning. I mean, that would trigger you to think, I hate using the word trigger, but we can use it properly and not, overwhelmingly so in this situation, that could, spur him to think that he was just angry at the whole system that got him in this situation, that empowered and emboldened his wife to do and say these things. Now, maybe not. Maybe he's a raging, jerk, and he just loves to kill, and he hated his daughters, and he hated himself, and it's all about toxic masculinity, and only if he'd been hugged more and taught how to deal with his feelings more. But probably not. And we will never know for sure, because this is just spun as man bad, woman innocent victim, man violent. They're just going to say, well, this is the type of person he was. This is why he had the restraining order, right? And maybe that's true. There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. There is a chance. Is it likely? What do you think? What do you think? We need to stop, regardless of the actual truth that we will never get to in this situation, because it'll only be talked about, oh, it's another example of gun violence and men being dangerous. We need to stop pushing men to this point. We need to stop allowing it to be so easy for women to lie about them, to accuse them and be believed automatically. We need to stop with the automatic custody going to the woman. I mean, this day and age, the woman can be on drugs and they will literally still award her custody. And right now, I don't know how to make it stop. But I do know that it begins with acknowledging it. The first step to fixing the problem is acknowledging that there is one. So this story really got to me, because I think that there are so many men that have been pushed to this brink, that have felt there's no way out. There's no good way out of the situation. And it's more than just, some guys are unhappy. No, this is really serious. So, in this imaginary scenario we've brought up in our minds, because I wouldn't comment on the actual one. That would be wrong. Innocent until proven guilty, everybody, right? I do find this imaginary female character guilty. Please like and subscribe and comment what you think probably really happened as we imagine this scenario. Thanks.